Hey, we're recording. As always. Again. Oh, shit.
See, you fucked it.
Yeah, I fucked up.
You're dropping them.
Yeah, I'm dropping them too bad. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Shooting the Shit, a podcast for geeks, by geeks, and about geeks. I'm your host, the Beige Wonder, and always joining me today is...
Rupin the Third.
Woohoo!
Hey, we just saw my middle finger, too.
Oh, wow, we did?
Upside down, yeah.
Alright. Please go out and support Rupin the Third on Patience In, as well as on Twitch, also with his co-host.
Actually, no, probably not on Twitch for the time being because we're going to start doing our own shit for YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, definitely go like and subscribe his YouTube channel on Patience In. And if you guys ever get the chance, please come out and like and friend or follow us on Facebook or Dorkulous Tune. We could always use some extra friends because I need friends. So, yeah. So,
wait a minute, what about Twitter?
Twitter?
Yes.
I don't. Do you have a Twitter?
I set the Twitter account up.
Oh wow! I didn't know we had Twitter. Are we seriously?
Yeah, I think we did.
Wow.
I think it's Twitter. We'll post shit up there. We'll put it in the description. How about that?
Damn, I'm starting off sucky as a CEO. Fuck. I didn't
Yeah,
even know...
I set it all up. I really did.
Oh wow! I didn't even know we fucking had a damn Twitter.
If it's not Twitter, I know it's definitely Instagram.
Well, that'll
we
work.
set shit up. Actually, we set up I also set up one for the YouTube as well.
Oh man. Well, today's episode is basically just to give you guys a recap on what we do here. We just talk about everything that we love in general. If you're a geek is just anything you're passionate about, whether it's comics, whether it's sports, whether it's wrestling, whether it's video games. I mean, you name it, it's pretty much can be discussed and be mentioned on this show.
What is the love of animals and also the love of porn?
Well, I'm not a bestiality type guy.
No, I'm saying you people that love animals to the point where they get geeky about it because they put sweaters and stuff on their animals.
That's just creepy.
It is what it is.
I know, but that's just...
again,
it's like your pet is more indulged than your child. Like, you take care of your child, or you take care of your pet more than you would really, like, people pretty much ignore their kids compared to their pets.
Who cares?
Yeah.
At least your dog won't talk back to you. At least I don't think they will.
I don't know. There are some that's... I mean, Milo, what's Ann's cat name?
Oh, Milo. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, that cat talks. I'm thinking he's asking hello.
Winston did the
hello.
same thing too. So.
Yeah, so I mean, the animals can talk if they really, really want to be talked about.
But then again, I'm sorry. Then again, also love of porn because people watch a lot of porn like we play video games.
Well, I can't help that. I do watch a lot of porn. I got a lot of fan favorites.
Keep going.
Yeah, right. I should just we can make this whole episode about porn for some odd reason.
So we need like some low budget porn.
That would be great though. A Skinamax. Yeah.
No, to talk about it, not to do it. No.
Oh, why not?
Because then we have to porn on Pornhub, not YouTube.
Oh yeah, that is true. That's a great ass tea. Anyway, last podcast, unfortunately we didn't get a chance to record it, so we're going to record it now. I asked you a question. I basically wanted to know, has being a geek, a nerd, a dork, or anything, has it become subculture, or now is it more pop culture? Which one would you rather have preferred? Would you rather us, be the subculture that we were, where we wasn't getting so much attention now, where we're really more mainstream than anything? Or is that okay? Because right now we're all over the place. We're on TV, we're on movies. I mean, compared to just being guys reading comic books and just talking about it, now, its possibilities are endless.
I think it's when we hit the turn of the century, of the 2000s. Probably 2-3 years prior to that, because I think Dragon Ball Z really started out for us.
Yeah.
But don't like it in the first place because why we get so pop culture-y? And when we were growing up, we had to hide like we were Anne Frank.
Yeah.
With a diary.
Yep.
It's like, oh, do you like wrestling? No.
Exactly.
Okay. Don't hit me. Don't hit me.
Exactly. I mean, being black or African or whatever I choose to prefer to call myself because I have a white grandfather, but anyway, when I was growing up, it was hard to even just read comic books, especially being black. It was like I had to be in the Tupac and Biggie in the East Coast West Coast battle, and I'm like, I don't even really care for that because I'm not trying to get shot. I'm not a blood. I'm not a crip or anything. I like comic books. I like watching Saturday morning cartoons. I used to get ragged on because I would watch Saturday morning cartoons. Remember when cartoons used to come on right before you went to school? I would be that.
Yes.
I would be that kid that goes straight to the classroom just to turn on the TV just so I can watch Spider Man
I don't know about that.
at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know, because our Spider-Man was at Saturday mornings.
No, Spider Man used to come on at like during the week. He used to come on like early in the morning. This is when, for those who don't know, back in the day, cartoons used to come on every freaking day. Saturday mornings was the greatest thing ever. But during the week, you had cartoons that played before school. Then you had cartoons that played after school. Summertime, it was just worse, especially when Cartoon Network hit the scene. It was just like...
Oh, no, actually, summertime was actually great because certain shows were on during the summertime, especially on Fox.
Yeah.
It could be like 11, 12 o'clock and whatnot. And, no.
About
It was 1 or 2 was
Yeah.
when they started coming on, like Ronin Warriors would pop on.
Yep, exactly.
So-
exactly.
And then my brother was always over at Buddy's house watching it, where I watched a couple episodes and I really wasn't into it as much as he was.
Yeah, I watched the whole freaking series. I was so in love with that show. It was like discovering boobs for the first time. It was like the best thing ever because it was a cartoon that I haven't seen in like forever. And then when Toonami came out on Cartoon Network, it was like the complete jump off. It was like the biggest nerdgasm I could possibly ever have. I'm like, okay, Thundercats is back on, Voltron is back on.
That limited run with Silverhawks.
Yeah, Silverhawks. All the great stuff that you watched as a kid was like on Toonami, and it was just awesome. Then you got your anime field. That's when you got introduced to Dragon Ball Z, of course. You got introduced to Big O, Yu Yu Hakusho. I mean, the list can go on and on and on as far as like Toonami. But back to the question though, are you concerned that we're more mainstream now where we may lose focus on what really was like? For us, we know the source material. We read the comic books. We lived during those times compared to now where it's like all they got to do is watch a movie or...
And they believe it's just source
yeah,
material.
and then that's their source material. It's like, well, it was in the movie. That doesn't mean anything. Did you even read the comics or any of the original source material?
No, see, that's where the problem becomes. It becomes somebody who claims that they read, the such and such books, and then they turn around and they direct these movies.
Right.
I won't mention that person's name, where they read every single X-Men book twice, and then, okay,
right.
well, then here you go. Here's the movie. It's like based on the movie with the X-Men, The Last Stand, and it's like, oh yeah, this is going to be really, this is great, and, none of it made sense. It was like, okay, none of this was from the source material of anything. It was like, okay, here's what you got. You killed Scott Summers. At the time, Scott Summers was still fucking alive. Scott Summers was still alive long before that, or like long after that anyways.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like recently when they killed him and then they brought him back again.
Yeah.
But then you start killing a lot of characters off anyways.
Which was, I think, was the original purpose of Chris Claremont. I think he went on record to say that his original intent for the X-Men were to have them eventually retire and fade out. Because his biggest regret or the biggest mistake that he feels that was made was Jean Grey not being dead. Back when, I guess, when he originally had killed her off, and then he had to bring her back for whatever reason behind the powers that be decided to bring her back. His whole intention was to have Scott move on, him and Madeline Pryor or whatever get married, and they raise, Cable together, and they live happily ever after. It was like, you come in as an X-Men, you fade out, retire from the X-Men, and you move on with your life, where more characters can get introduced compared to where now you have mainstays, which is pretty much a consistent thing now in everything, whether it is in wrestling, comic books in general now, because let's face it, and I'm going to go on record and say this, I do not care that you take a black girl and make her Iron Man. How about instead of her being Iron Man, she becomes something better than Iron Man or something similar to Iron Man? I don't need a Chinese Hulk. I don't need a black Captain America. Although it was great, but it's one of those things where I think you're pandering to the audiences, and these are people who really won't come out and support these movies or anything. Like, how many gay characters do you really need? Like, I have not met not one full blown gay person. I'm probably going to get hanged for this, but I have not met one full blown gay person that feels like this person being gay changes their life or it affects their life or by any circumstances.
Because comic book studios or whatever the hell you want to call them want to please the NAACP and what is it, the lesbian, gay?
Yeah, the LGBT.
Yeah,
and all
they want to
other...
please these like groups. They're like they don't care. They really don't care.
Yeah, they really don't.
I think the is it lesbian, gay? What is it? Lesbian, gay,
bisexual, transgender, and then it was something else. They about to add another letter to it.
So
now.
it's the LGBT.
Yeah, the LGBT.
I think they came out and they're just like, we don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't
like,
make any sense.
You guys want to add a gay character? Cool, fine. We're behind with that. If you don't, we don't also care. We've already got enough fucking issues as is. We don't give a rat's ass anymore.
Yeah, like they're still trying to get married in certain states and they're being denied that right. I don't think a comic book character really plays to their agenda or to their life goals in general. It's kind of really annoying and sad when you see people really saying, well, how come, what was it, Captain America needs a boyfriend?
That's stupid.
Yeah, I'm like, why? Captain America grew up during like he was created during the 1940s, so that means he was born during like the 1920s, where you could be just as straight as anything, like especially a blonde white guy with blue eyes. Yeah, he was just as straight as he could be. There was no chance, and even if he was gay, you would have never known about it.
Yeah.
Because, let's face it, Steve Rogers is one of those guys, he does not talk about his personal life. Since I've been reading comics, I've never seen him talk about his personal life at all.
See, and the thing is, with the movies versus the comic books, in the comic books, they really don't do the whole, like, his love story, but when they do, he's in love with somebody, versus in the movies, it was like, well, he could still be a virgin or whatnot, because that's the way they made it out to be. Like, okay, you've been frozen, so, you ain't having sex when you're frozen.
True.
But you don't know what he was doing, in between when you weren't seeing him on scene.
Exactly.
So, he could have been banging like 5 chicks, and then he comes back and was like, I'm sorry, I heard my name again? Exactly. And then he throws a shield or something. I mean, he could have been blowing a couple guys, too, but, nobody cares.
I don't think so either. I think it's really they're pandering to the media, pandering to people that they think will actually come out and support their movie, which I don't think nobody really gives a damn about. And I think we're living in the 21st century, which is hard to believe that we're actually in the 21st century, that we're still acting like we're in the late 19th to early 20th century.
Actually, we're probably way worse off than they were.
Probably. At least they had a moral code. Now we don't have no moral code because nothing's sacred. But
at least when they were racist, they actually admit the shit and they didn't care. Versus when we're racist now, we're like, oh no, I'm not racist. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I know what you're talking about. This is why I was trying to avoid. I was like, that's a topic for another day. So,
but it's on the par that it's the same way. I'm not gay, but then back then they would have been like, yeah, I'm gay, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like gay is something new. That's the other thing. I mean, not to drag this conversation out even more, but it's like, gay is nothing new. Gay's been out, I mean, it's been going on since, like, the dawn of time.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it, onesies?
Yeah. No, it's samesies.
Samesies, yeah. If you ever get a chance, what was the title of it?
It's samesies. That's what it's called, yeah.
Okay, yeah, if you ever get a chance, watch that. It's actually pretty fucking funny.
So... getting to the point of all that stuff, right?
Right.
The question beyond that point is, the only reason why we have these certain topics and stuff is because it's these people that haven't been reading these comics. It's like, okay, comics is brand new to us, because, mainstream movies and TV shows that are, like, really popular.
Billions of dollars now.
And now this is when we want to throw all this other shit in there. Like, we have to have a different race for characters that's been around for, like, millions of years.
Yeah.
Or, we have to have a gay character this time. Or we have to turn this person this and turn that person that. Or, hey, Jean Grey's now a guy.
Yeah.
So this is what we're now getting to the point. But it's the people who are trying to change this stuff are the people that weren't reading the comics when they were young.
Wasn't even reading the material
Hell,
at
they
all.
they never even probably still picked up comic book. They just assume it's just
They
based off
don't
TV.
know the struggle of the Clone Wars or the Clone Saga or whatever the hell that Spider-Man, because that's how bad it was. It was just
And the
bad.
problem is right now, okay, we've got Flashpoint that recently came out within the last 6-7 years.
Flashpoint, it's only been about 5.
Okay,
It's
so
about
5 years.
years. I'll give it 5 years max.
So we've had the Flashpoint, the something Paradox, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we've got the Flashpoint that's coming out on
the
season
CW.
3 of Flash, and hopefully it's not very long. You know, the storyline's dragged
Well,
out.
it's supposed to be at least about 2 to 3 episodes.
I'm fully fine with that. But if
Okay.
they dragged it out through like
Nah,
most of the season,
nah.
that would be annoying. But the movie kind of went with the comic books, but kind of didn't. They did focus more on the Flash and Thomas Wayne type thing.
Yeah.
And then they left off, you know, some of those other characters. And that's fine because some of those storylines were just garbage anyways.
Yeah, and
Nobody
it
cares
was just
about
fillers. You
Yeah.
don't really need to really go into detail.
Nobody cares about the Canterbury
fillers.
cricket. Nobody cares.
I really don't understand how the hell he got a one-shot.
It just
I don't even know
That's
why.
why there was only one shot in the first place.
Yeah, I don't even understand why he got one.
And then the show is going to have, you know, whatever they do with it, and it's going to be very, like, little that they get to pull from the comics. But everybody's going to use the cartoon movie and the Flash as source material where you didn't even read the fucking source, the actual source material back 5 years ago.
Didn't
the
even
only-
read it.
And the only thing is that the Flashpoint was good. The main story was good. Citizen Cold was good. And the Batman portion of it was good. Everything else, like the Lois Lane storyline, was bad. Deathstroke was hit and miss. The war against Aquaman and Wonder Woman, they were hit and miss type situations. I mean, they start converging
It was kind
together.
of good. Yeah, it was converging together, but it was kind of good though.
The only problem is they converge together, and sometimes where the comic book was coming out and where you read them at, the storyline was jumping to ahead from one point of it, and then when you read the second book, you kind of felt like you were a little bit behind. Then they start picking up and they start laying it against each other.
And that's one of my biggest issues with like multi crossover titles or whatever. You're gonna have a part of the story with these tie-ins or fillers instead of this like they don't connect or intertwine with the main story. Like the tie-ins could like get ahead of the main story, and because this story is taken off so far that the main story that you're supposed to be following doesn't really connect or catch up to this until like 3 or 4 months after the fact. Because like you'll take like another problem for a better prime example would be like all the Secret War stuff. The new Secret War, I guess it came out, I think it was like what, Secret War 3? I guess it was.
Wait a minute, we've gotten that far.
Yeah. It's been 3 Secret Wars. No, it's been 4. Shit, it's actually 4. You had the original Secret War, which of course everybody knows, but that's the debut of, for those who don't know, that's the debut of the black costume.
Yeah.
So that's that one. Then you got Secret Wars 2.
That wasn't that very good.
Yeah, it wasn't that good at all. Then Secret Wars 3 was in the mid to late 90s, where it was basically with S.H.I.E.L.D., and it was basically when, I guess you could say when Nick Fury disappeared, because during that story arc, it was all low-budget heroes and villains. It was Spider-Man, Luke Cage, I want to say Captain America was involved in this one, but the villains were like Demo Goblin and Hobgoblin, and like they were real low budget type villains, like villains that you would see, but they wasn't really a major threat. It was almost like the Flash's rogues gallery of villains.
The garbage versions of Spider-Man.
Yeah, pretty
characters.
much.
Okay.
Yeah, so
They were the tricksters of the.
yeah, exactly. So they was like that, and it was basically the introduction, I guess you could say, of Nick Fury's disappearance, and where he kind of figured, I guess he was like, there's something off. It was almost like it wasn't the Civil War part, but I think it was like the Secret Invasion part, where he was like, okay, something's not right. I'm going to fall back. I'm going to go into the shadows because something's going on and I can't figure out what it is yet.
But see, he was gone for a long time, though. Because
Yeah,
he was
I mean-
still gone when they did the Wolverine Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. comic portion of Wolverine. 'Cause
Yeah,
remember
again,
when
this
they brought
was
that in.
early this was early 2000s, so I would say mid 90s to early 2000s was this Secret War. Because I remember in Wizard. And if anybody does not remember Wizard magazine, shoot yourself. Because that was like the best ever. Like, I love that magazine. I still have a couple of issues.
Wizard did get the X-Men casting right. At least with one character.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick
Yes,
Stewart.
okay.
They got that right.
They got that right there.
Right.
I mean, Iman wasn't a bad choice for Storm, though. She wasn't a bad choice.
No, but I'm saying that they at least got one thing right. Like, the other ones, when they did casting for movies and stuff like that, they were, like, far off. But it's because they were only, the characters that were being presented to you were actors that were, popular at the time. We're good? Okay. Yeah. Because, Michael Dorn, would have been playing Bishop. Michael Dorn's not popular when, they finally did the Bishop character in the movie.
And I didn't even really care for that Bishop because he really wasn't in the movie.
Yeah, he was just like, here you go, I've got these powers. Who the hell are you again?
Exactly. You kind of left out the dinner like, okay, I know who you are, but why were you in the movie?
Yeah, for anybody who's never read these books or, know these characters, they were like, who the hell is that? I don't understand this person.
Yeah.
Why the hell is this person here? None of it made sense.
Kind of hurt. But moving on to within that topic, and it goes into the next segue basically into, do we need franchises?
Franchises for movies?
Just
comics?
in general. It's coming to a head now where it's like almost everything has to be part of a franchise. Like Universal is now trying to build a franchise with their Monster Universe. Because apparently now Fast and Furious is now becoming a franchise. That's their biggest franchise that they got going.
They've been a franchise for years, though.
Yeah, but the movies are now all tied together, whereas they was kind of like their own separate entities. Because you had Fast and the Furious.
1 and 2 were connected.
1 and 2 was connected, but they
barely
wasn't really officially connected. It was like Tokyo Drift, which was the third one, was kind of his own standalone thing, but then they brought that back into the fold and said, okay, this happened.
Except the only thing is they made the mistake of they added Vin Diesel right at the end of the movie. They made the mistake there.
That was only because he decided to come back when he realized his movie career technically wasn't taking off as much as he thought. So when he comes back into this, it kind of sparked and said, okay, we need to bring this further. We need to keep going with... Say, all right.
So, the Vin Diesel thing. Vin Diesel's not really that great of an actor in the first place, to me, opinion-wise.
Right.
There's probably like one movie that I could keep watching of him in that was really good because the storyline was really good.
Which is?
It was Find Me Guilty, where he played the mobster.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was really good. And plus, Peter Dinklage, made the movie to a point too, so that was great to see him. And this was before Game of Thrones even,
I know, trust me, I remember that movie as well, and it was just Game of Thrones kind of put him on a pedestal now, where it was like he found the character and made it his own. And another thing where I guess it goes back to being a subculture, where I remember when the books came out back in '97. I read the books starting in like 98, and I read all the way up into Red Wedding. The biggest thing that I thought that kind of hurt the most was when people kind of started getting mad at the fact. It was like, I don't see the rage when people were watching Harry Potter compared to me reading Game of Thrones. Don't sit here and tell me, oh, it doesn't matter that you read the books. The books was like 20 years ago. But that's the thing. The books was 20 years ago. So why are you getting mad when somebody who read the books, who read the material, who took the time to read 400 to 500 pages of material, telling you something for you to get into your feelings because, well, who cares? But if it was Harry Potter, it'd be a completely different thing. Because I don't remember anybody throwing any type of shade whatsoever to the people who read Harry Potter compared to the people that just watched the Harry Potter movies.
No, I kind of got a little flack sometimes.
Oh,
because
you did?
Yeah, because I didn't read the books. I'm like, okay, yeah, I like this part, but there's like, oh yeah, well, that part really wasn't in there that much, or they expanded the movies, or the book explains certain things a little bit more.
Right,
And
more
that
in
happens
depth.
with everything because, you know, you only have a little time for a movie versus what you have in a book. The same thing with the Lord of the Rings movies, same thing with, you know, anything else that they've ever done. Movies versus books. Because Stephen King movies always get flack for shit that they do. Because a lot of times those books are different from the movies. But that's because of the writer, you know, is trying to condense stuff.
Right.
The studios is like, okay, this part doesn't make any sense. But, you know, that could be critical for, you know, said movie.
But at the same time, the studio always wants to throw in their 2 cents, and that's something that I think hurts a that hurts a franchise, especially a set of books or mainly books, a set of books where instead of actually sticking to the material, we're going to switch it up just because of said property and we want to actually make some money off of it. So instead of killing the hero, we're going to keep the hero alive and we're just going to kill off somebody else. Or we'll just say this character is in question because we don't know exactly how we want to play this as far as marketing, which is kind of sad because it goes back to. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We had a technical difficulty on what we was recording, but to get back on topic.
Well, just to toss this out there, every time you watch a video for Patients In, there's always a technical difficulty, so it happens with me all the time, so it's fine.
Nice segue plug. Anyway, back to what we was originally talking about as far as do we need franchises? It goes back to me saying as far as studios getting involved and switching up the source material. A prime example of that, in my opinion, is The Killing Joke. If you have not read the comic, because of Warner Brothers and DC's partnership as far as franchises and all this other stuff, they kind of changed the whole dynamic of the story where there really was no need for The Killing Joke to be a movie because there was no sex scene in The Killing Joke. There was an idea that Batman and Batgirl had a thing going on because it was also thrown in there into Batman Beyond where they had a relationship and they said it in Return of the Joker. But it kind of kills a franchise at the same time when studios want to add that narrative in there of the fan theory, I guess you could say it is. So that's my take as far as like, you know, studios getting involved and taking away from the source material just to build a franchise around it for, you know, taking out certain elements that you know is not canon to the source material, but because of marketing, we want to plug it in there just for this reason.
Well, what's that have to do with franchise?
It has to do with franchise.
It's just poor judgment on one comic book for one movie to add more to something that had, 48 pages, 96 pages?
Less than that, really.
To make it an hour and a half cartoon?
A rated R cartoon at that.
I mean, they could have added the word fuck up there twice and that would have just automatically made it rated R.
I think they put the rated R up there because they wanted to show the goriness of Barbara getting shot, which was basically just the blood.
Wasn't... No. The Under the Red Hood wasn't... It was bloody, but it wasn't like that.
Yeah, it wasn't that graphic as The Killing Joke was. The Killing Joke
because when he did come down on the with the crowbar to Jason Todd, they didn't show it. But in the book though, Death in the Family, they also didn't show it like that either.
No,
but it was still, the thought of it was gruesome as hell though, as well.
Especially for the time it was back then. But back to the original question though, do we need franchises? Like almost everything now has to be a franchise. Everything now has to be a shared universe. Because do we really need that? I guess is the question that I'm asking. Do we really need that?
Yes and no, depending on what it is, depending on what the source material or whatever it's going to be based on. To do something like Lord of the Rings trilogy, cool, we're fine with that. To do The Hobbit, no, that was stupid. They could have done a 2-part movie of it instead of doing 3 parts and then dragging the hell out of it. They could have done 2 movies of it just to get the maximum fill of the entire book, even though the book's probably about 250 pages. So one long 3 hour, 30-minute movie, I would have been fully fine with that. But, hey, Warner Brothers wants the money, so they'll split the shit out of it. And it's like, okay, well, we got Peter Jackson, he'll just, do what he's got to do, and we're going to be good with that. They really should have left it as 2 movies.
Okay, so, but now to your point on that, do you think that because of the whole money game with the shared universe, because almost everything now is purely, almost damn near pure profit. When you really look at all these shared universes, it's pouring in extra cash into these studios. They're like, if we can make a shared universe, because let's face it, Marvel said, okay, we're going to go ahead and create our own universe on their last leg before they filed for chapter, well, after, I think this was after they filed for chapter 11. And they said, okay, we're going to go ahead and start doing our own movies. We're going to take everything we got and we're going to put it into Iron Man. We're going to put it all into Iron Man, and that's going to help us spark this universe that we want to create. We're tired of doing these standalone movies. We're tired of relying on studios to, get together and actually do the movies the way how we want to do them. They not listening to us, so let's do it ourselves. So with them, of course, that famous scene, so I am Iron Man. The Avengers Initiative. Nerdgasm everywhere. Almost every guy and gal in the freaking movie theater went ballistic in the freaking movie theater. Like, holy shit.
No. See, the problem is, what you missed out of that, and you felt that you mentioned, is the reason why they went Nerdgasm is the fucking Samuel Jackson is Nick Fury mentioned the Avengers. That's the thing. You missed it.
But Samuel Jackson is a bad motherfucker.
Exactly.
Though. And okay, again, I don't mind Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury, because unfortunately, David Hasselhoff.
No, let's not get into that, because I don't want to talk about that, because of the fact that they were using the material in some of the movies off of the crap. What is his name? Is it Bendis that did it?
The Ultimate Universe?
Yes.
It
they
was
were using a lot of that.
I mean, have you read the Ultimates? Because I can tell you exactly what happened in the Ultimates.
I read bits and pieces of it. I really couldn't get into it.
If you was to read, I could give you the first volume, and it's a good run. It really is. But there was a scene, or not a scene, but a panel in the comic of the Ultimates, which was this Ultimate Universe that Marvel did, as far as like their heroes being in the real world. By the way, that was a lot of dialogue, especially when it came to the Fantastic Four. That was a shit ton of dialogue that you had to read. But in that they had all the Avengers were sitting down, because they was like these real life superheroes, and they were all sitting down. They was like, well, who would play you in the movie? Who would play you in the movie? Who would play you in the movie? And really, Nick Fury looks exactly like the Nick Fury in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There was no distinction whatsoever where you cannot say that that's not Samuel L. Jackson. And they all asked, okay, well, Tony, who will play you? Probably Freddie Prinze Jr. Then it went on to Wasp,
yeah,
Hawkeye.
Because in the Ultimate Universe, he looked younger, so yeah, he kind of did look like Freddie Prinze Jr.
So, and it came down to Samuel, and it came, I hate to say Samuel L. Jackson, but it came down to Nick Fury. He's sitting down in the same pose that you saw Nick Fury sitting down in, like this, with his hands like this, and you're sitting there with a smile on his face. He was like, none other than Samuel L. Jackson, because he's a bad motherfucker. And then he did. I think he said motherfucker actually, but yeah. But
they probably did the whole little asterisk type thing to it.
Yeah, pretty much. But you knew exactly what he was talking about. So in that aspect, they actually did that in the Ultimate. So yes, that was basically off the Ultimates. I think their whole entire Marvel universe is really a mashup between the original 616 universe and the Ultimates universe.
I think they use a concept what they did with Wanted. Certain people look like real like actual people.
Yeah.
The one kid wasn't James. The one that played James McAvoy, or James McAvoy played the character in the comics. He looked really more like Eminem.
Yeah, and Fox is actually a black chick.
She looked like Halle Berry to a point.
Yeah, she wasn't really.
And the old white
Angelina
guy,
Jolie.
the old white guy didn't look like an actual random white guy. Well, I guess he would look more like John Hurt at a certain age, but he looked like a character from Tekken.
The main guy.
No, I think it
I'm
was the
sorry,
doctor.
I'm not familiar with Tekken. Unfortunately, I know certain characters, but
Yeah,
not
it's,
all of them.
my brain is gone. But yeah, it's like they were doing that. It's like, okay, we looked at wanted what they did, and then we're gonna do it with other stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of get that realism like Alex Ross liked to do in his like fucking drawings. And that's another thing that fucking that movie ruined. It's the only fucking thing I ever liked of Alex Ross. That fucking movie, Suicide Squad, ruined that one fucking scene.
What one scene?
You remember where she's dressed like the actual? Yeah. They go fuck themselves.
But everybody loved that though. They was like, well, at least she wore the costume. They did that classic, that classic scene, that everybody was fandom on. But
no, I didn't like that because that costume looked too loose on her.
Yeah, it did. It was not skin tight on her at all.
Yeah, that was just garbage.
I thought it was kind of like they just did that in there just for fanboy's sake.
And his fucking face was still like grill in his fucking mouth and the shit. No, that's just everything.
Which they have not explained yet. It's like I really would have went with the notion that Batman knocked out his teeth. Yeah, that didn't make any sense either. The tattoo on his hand.
And it's this fucking smile. It's like, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
And honestly, I thought the tattoo said deranged.
No,
the way
it's damaged.
Yeah, it just looks like deranged as well because my eyesight's not the greatest, but it really looks deranged because deranged, cursive, and damage are almost about the same.
It was a hit or miss movie. I would definitely say
more
that.
of a fucking miss than anything, but
it was a hit or miss movie.
But we're going from something else to another thing. So franchises, do we need franchises? Certain things, yes. If you do a decent movie and do franchises from it, like Harry Potter, that's fine. When you do things like Maze Runner, current stuff like that, sometimes those later movies falter, and it hurts the series later on.
Prime example, The Immortal Instruments.
That only got one movie.
And it tanked. It wasn't really all that great.
Divergent, the last movies. Well, what movie would be a TV movie or is it a TV show?
It would probably been a TV show. I mean,
no, they're actually turning it into either a TV movie or a TV show. They're not doing an actual theater-based movie.
I know the Mortal Instruments was actually turned into a TV show.
No, but I'm talking about the Divergence. Like the
last movie.
Yes, they're turning it into either a TV movie. That's gonna be like
with
on
the same
FX.
actors.
They didn't say yet.
Yeah, now that's messed up. That's really messed up.
Because their money kept going down. Like the first one did a lot of money. The second one didn't do the greatest, but it did enough to cap a third one. Third one really did not do much.
Yeah, because it looked out of place. It really compared to where they originally started off. A dystopian place, but now you're into like a whole science fiction thriller now. The way how the trailer set it off, I'm like, wait, what? Where did all this come from? I thought we was, I'm sorry, not everything can be Hunger Game-ish. Like with the dystopian, it's almost like that dystopian apocalyptic place where everything is now, old time. Like before electricity was created.
A steampunk version.
Yeah, it was like all those movies can't fly. Like you're gonna have a lot of hit and misses with that. And if you're going to do it, just do it in one shot. I'm almost at the point where I'm like, if these, like a prime example, this sticks us into the franchise topic. Stop giving me what you want me to see in theaters and then give me this so-called director's cut later on a DVD. Just give me the full version. I can sit in a movie theater for 3.5 hours. I can. Got no problem, especially if it's a good movie. I can do that. But don't give me the scenes that you took out just so you can meet the certain rating that you need to meet. And then give me the director's cut with all the good stuff that probably would have helped the story thrive even more later on DVD, which makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
like stupid. I can't stand that. Is like now we're coming to find out that Jared Leto. We was talking about this earlier. That Jared Leto, Joker stuff was cut out. Like tons of his stuff was cut out, and it's like he's feeling some type of way now. Now he's like bashing the shit out of the movie because he's like, where's all the stuff that I did? Now, you know what? I feel like I was tricked into doing this. I don't even want to do this now. So now we're going to lose another Joker, which could possibly be a decent Joker. But the best one still, to me, is still Heath Ledger. But the greatest Joker of all time will go to Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is the greatest Joker of all time.
No, I think everybody puts a little something different into the Jokers. Cesar Romero, that's right? From the original Batman TV show.
66.
Yeah, he put something into the Joker. It's a little campy, but that's fine because it was the 60s.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson put a little twist on the Joker back in the late 80s.
He was more gangster-fied. I would say I would follow the meme.
I was also cool with that because of the fact that he kind of had that killing joke type outfit too.
And the grin.
So I was fully fine with that.
I could go with, there's a meme
Heath
that
Ledger
goes
had
out.
his own thing. The only thing that Jared Leto gave me that I was kind of fine with was that stupid fucking laugh that he had.
Well, I would go so far as saying, okay, there's a meme that's out where it says Cesar Romero, of course, which was the 66. I'm not saying that it was him. I don't know for sure because I didn't really follow the actors back then. But the 66 Joker was pretty much the clown version of the Joker.
Yeah.
You got the gangster version with Jack Nicholson, of course, because that's pretty much what he was. He was a gangster.
Yeah.
Then you got the crazy lunatic arsonist, who wants pure chaos Joker. That was Heath Ledger. Played that perfectly, by the way. And then here you have Jared Leto.
They really got the one fucking movie out of him.
Yeah. And here you have Jared Leto, who pretty much, I want to say he's a cross between what is a gangster-ish character today.
It's what everybody wants to be, Scarface type person.
Yeah, exactly. Or more or less, he's like the hipster Joker, basically. What would the Joker be for the modern-day teenager in mind?
You did a piss-poor experiment on a kid from Brooklyn that think he's a gangster to a kid that is living in the village that's kind of hippie, and you mutated them together. And that's what you kind of have.
Kind of, yeah, pretty much.
It's one of those weird, why?
Yeah, just why? And now and then you had the whole conspiracy theory there where everybody's saying that, okay, this was not the Joker. This could fit into the category of it was possibly Jason Todd, which I would have lost my shit on, by the way, because I'm actually grown to like Jason Todd.
Oh, did you catch it? They did explain who killed Jason Todd in the movie.
Yeah, Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
That's
what?
Yeah.
Stupid.
I was trying to bypass all of that. But this is what fits into, before we go any further into detail with it.
All right, so franchises, we're going to go back to it. Yes, there's certain things we need franchises for, yes. Some things, no. But the only thing is, everything for a franchise is a fucking hit and miss. Are we going to do good on it? Or are we not going to do good on it? We're not too sure. We have to actually take the stride to, do it. In the case of Marvel, they have done it. There's steps that they have screwed up on.
True.
I'm not going to say every movie they have done is great. DC has just ran into a wall. Maybe they'll dig themselves out of it. Maybe they won't. Maybe Jeff Jones actually will help them out. Maybe they won't. But the only problem is you have shows. And you won't use those characters for shows, but that's a different topic in the first place.
That is, and that is going to...
That might be a discussion altogether.
That's going to be probably a one-off episode by itself. But going along with franchises, are we close to having a perfect trilogy?
A trilogy of what?
Of just a perfect trilogy. Remember, there's always a flaw in a trilogy. It's always a flaw. The first one was great, but the middle one was a miss. The third one was, why did we do that? But there is one that I can come into mind that I would say fits into the category of a perfect trilogy, but it still has that one miss that I have, and that's only because of certain reasons but it's still. Well, I guess you can't even say that it is a perfect trilogy. But my vote would be Captain America. But the only problem is he didn't get shot in Civil War like he did.
Well, because they changed the whole situation of that.
In which they did only because they don't have the rights to a lot of fucking characters.
Now, are we talking about?
Damn you, Fox!
Are we talking about comic book related type trilogy things?
Just
or we
everything.
Just anything?
Just anything.
Okay, actually, I have two that actually could be technically perfect trilogies.
Okay.
And I've also mentioned it many of times already.
Okay.
And that's fucking Lord of the Rings. The only thing that faltered from that film is because
Now,
what time it came out, and that was the actual the effects for it. Especially in the third one where he's like hitting the fucking elephants with the bows, and then the effects weren't great then, because if you watch them on HD now, it really pulls it off.
Yeah.
It really pulls it away.
Yeah.
Like it hurts, but it's still a great film from beginning to the end. Now a lot of people will not say that it's the greatest thing in the world. Those Star Wars nerds, but it's fine because we also
Return
like
of the
Star
Jedi
Wars.
wasn't
the greatest.
It was not a great.
But that's not one of my perfect trilogies.
I know, but again, a perfect trilogy is like you could say, you know what, I can watch this movie from beginning to end, and I can't find nothing wrong to the point where there's nothing, like I can't find nothing wrong.
Actually, you know what? I think I have three.
Okay,
That's dawned on me. Okay, so
go.
Lord of the Rings, bam, that's one of them.
Okay, that's one.
The other one is Ocean's Trilogy.
I didn't care for the second one,
No.
and I think the third one shouldn't really have happened.
No, see, I actually liked all three of those films because when I watched the first one,
I'm not saying I don't like them. I'm just saying that the third one was kind of like the last hurrah. Like we're gonna get everybody together for one last hurrah, whereas it really didn't have nothing. Like it didn't have what made me like the first one, and the second one. But to bring every single character back that tied in, like why?
I was perfectly fine with that. From the beginning to the end, it's like all three films type thing. The second one, I've explained this to a handful of people actually. The second one felt a little artistry for Steven Soderbergh. It's the type of movie he's now doing. You'll see that in Haywire, the one with Gina, Carano.
Yeah, that was actually a good movie. I didn't.
But it was a
that
camera
fight
angle
scene with her and Michael Fassbender.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
But the
by the way, she should have been Wonder Woman. Just tossing that out there.
The camera, the way that he used the camera and whatnot.
Yeah,
that was a little artistry, and he also did the same thing with the Girlfriend Experience, and that had Sasha Grey in it because he brought her into mainstream from porn.
Right,
and he did the camera angle as he did with the Ocean's 12 movies. And I actually do like the second one actually much better than the other two in the way that they actually did the camera and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But all three actually felt like I could watch them from the first one to the second one, third one, like I always do. And I'm still happy with it every single time. And I'm not really, I can't find really too many things that I don't like about those films. Back to the Future trilogy as well.
Now that will have to probably be the biggest, if not fan acknowledged trilogy, because there really was no flaw in that movie, and it almost did time travel perfectly.
Yeah. Now the only thing that we did miss from the first one to the second one is his girlfriend. She went from whatever to the girl from Adventures of Babysitting.
Names right now is not on the top of my to-do list.
Yeah, so they changed the girlfriend from those two films.
Right.
And then the father. They've also changed him. George McFly. Yeah, Crispin Glover played the first one. He didn't do it after that. It was somebody different. Yeah, he had a situation with the studio. So they pulled him.
Wait.
So they got someone that actually looks like Crispin Glover to do.
You telling me Crispin Glover didn't do that whole trilogy?
No.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I swore he did it.
No. They had somebody else doing it.
Jeez.
Yeah. But just
They're
imagine.
just hurt now. Now I don't even want to count that as the perfect trilogy.
But just imagine now that if that entire trilogy was done not by Michael J. Fox but Eric Schwartz, those wouldn't even be a trilogy. That would have been a garbage movie altogether.
I saw a reel of him and the director. He was like, "No, this is not gonna work.
Zemeckis like, really wanted fucking Fox.
Like, this is not gonna fit. This is not gonna work. I can't do it with this guy. My vision is not going. No, take it away." Take it away. Well, I can't think of so for a perfect trilogy is
so okay. Wait a minute. So the question is, do you have like anything else besides like the Captain America trilogy?
Well, my vote was to be Captain America. Only problem with it is, like I said, he didn't die. I could go with really Back to the Future just simply because it pretty much fits. It's probably the closest to a perfect trilogy that I can go to. The second thing will be Lord of the Rings, of course, because I personally didn't find nothing wrong with those set of movies. And I can't wait to sit down and watch the extended cut because, yeah, I actually have a job now where I can actually afford the 80 freaking 9 to $100 DVD. I can actually find myself to actually purchasing that now. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. By the way, I'm not a cheapskate. I'm just a guy who's trying to conserve money. So, but anyway, on that note, we're gonna go ahead and end it because I'm sorry, but I gotta take a potty break. So as always, this has been Shooting the Shit. I'm your host, the Beige Wonder,
Reuben the Third,
and we will see you in the funny pages.
I don't know about that.